From Draymond Green's never-ending controversies on court, to Dillon Brooks' trash-talking King James and turning his gears, this is the NBA's ugly side of the playoffs. Starting with Draymond Green, the master of controversy. Green is like a magnet for conflicts and drama, especially when the playoffs are on the line. It's become his signature move throughout his professional career. And guess what? Sometimes he shamelessly leaps right over that proverbial line. Can you imagine the headache this gives Warriors head coach Steve Kerr and their star guard Steph Curry? They have the difficult task of dealing with Green's fiery temperament. Don't get me wrong, they appreciate the spark he brings to the team. But holy smokes, finding that delicate balance and pleading with Green to use his brain while playing is a never-ending battle. The ultimate goal here is to keep Green fired up, fueled by a chip on his shoulder that could power a small city. But the problem is, they need to rein him in just enough so he doesn't get himself ejected or suspended for the next game. One of those moments went down not so long ago when the Warriors lost to the Sacramento Kings in Game 2 of their Western Conference first-round playoff series. But wait, there's more. This one is a real head-scratcher, and it involves none other than the King himself, LeBron James. It all went down in Game 4 of the 2016 NBA Finals, with the Warriors on the verge of a commanding 3-1 series lead. Things got heated when Green and James got tangled up, and Green took a hard hit that sent him tumbling to the ground. When James stepped over him, Green completely lost his cool and lashed out with a punch aimed at James's groin. Now, some might think something like this would just be water under the bridge, but not for Green. Thanks to his previous playoff antics, the league had had enough. They slapped him with a suspension for Game 5, and boom, Green was benched and the Warriors had to face the consequences. Sure, there was an uproar. People were losing their minds over the league's decision to sideline this force of nature. But here's the thing, Green only had himself to blame. I mean, if he hadn't stacked up a laundry list of incidents prior to this, he might have gotten away with it. But karma's a you-know-what. You'd think Green would learn a lesson from this, but nope. My man decided to unleash his inner ninja on Steven Adams during the 2016 Western Conference Finals, and he delivered not one, but 2 groin shots to the poor Thunder center. Now, some might argue that these were accidental, but let's be real, they were anything but unintentional. It was like he was auditioning for the next Karate Kid movie. But here's the real kicker, pun intended. These dirty plays were just the warm-up for what was to come in the NBA Finals against LeBron James. Green had already gotten 2 strikes from the league for his previous attacks on Adams. So when he went for the low blow on King James, the NBA had no choice but to suspend him for Game 5. Honestly, Green has nobody but himself to blame for his reckless behavior. He may be a talented player, but he clearly has some anger management issues that he needs to work on. His controversies never seem to end. In fact, let me tell you about his latest episode of madness. During Game 2 of the Golden State Warriors playoff series against the Sacramento Kings, things really got crazy. Tensions were running high at the playoff game, and suddenly, Green goes all stampede mode on Domantas Sabonis from the Sacramento Kings. The man stomped on the poor guy like he was crushing grapes in a vineyard. Naturally, Green got the boot from the game. But wait, don't expect the league to drop the hammer on him this time. You see, he's got a free pass to stomp away. Now, in fairness, Sabonis had a grip on Green's leg, like a determined toddler holding onto their favorite toy. But come on, Green, you gotta be smarter than that. When the playoffs are in full swing, emotions are off the charts, and it's the players who keep their cool that come out on top. But let's face it, Green is always dancing on the edge. The Golden State Warriors know it, and deep down, they're hoping he can keep his composure. Because if he doesn't, well, we'll just have to add another juicy chapter to the never-ending saga of Draymond's controversial moments. If he keeps this up, he might just find himself out of the league. But then again, he's not the only controversial person in the NBA. We're in the crucial stage of the NBA playoffs where the intensity is off the charts, and people are doing anything and everything to gain the tiniest advantage. Like Warriors coach Steve Kerr, who had a volcanic eruption of rage in Game 2 of the Western Conference semifinals. But can you blame the guy? Grizzlies guard Dillon Brooks went all Hulk mode and delivered a bone-crushing club to Gary Payton. This shattered the poor guy's elbow. It was a brutal, jaw-dropping moment that left everyone gasping. Of course, Brooks got the boot, but Kerr wasn't satisfied with just that. Kerr unleashed his fury and tore into Brooks for breaking an unwritten code of basketball conduct. Apparently, there's a secret code that says you shouldn't knock your opponent's head off and break their elbow. Who knew? So naturally, the league slapped Brooks with a one-game suspension. But guess what? The Grizzlies weren't about to let that slide. Enter Ja Morant, the shining star of Memphis and the NBA's most searched highlight machine. Morant was talking big, saying he and his Memphis buddies ain't ducking no smoke. Translation? They're tough as nails and fear no one. So when the series shifted to San Francisco for Game 3, Morant found himself caught in a trap between two Warriors defenders. In the chaos, Jordan Poole made a grab for the ball. But oops, he ended up clutching Morant's precious knee instead. Now, you'd think Morant would take it on the chin, right? Wrong. He pulled a classic move out of the Petty playbook by taking Kerr's words about the code and throwing them right back at his own teammate. In a now-deleted tweet, Morant accused Poole of breaking that oh-so-important code. But hey, this is the NBA playoffs we're talking about. Drama is the name of the game, and the pettiness levels are off the charts. So, of course, Luka Doncic wasn't going to be left behind in this race. Sure, the man's never committed a foul in his NBA career, or so they say. If you ask him, he'll flash a smug smile or even throw up the international sign for money, rubbing his thumbs against his fingers to protest any calls against him. I mean, does he think he's above the law or something? Maybe he's just reminding the home fans to tip the waitstaff. Or maybe he's reminding Mark Cuban that he's owed a hefty $207 million contract extension. But let's be real, he's probably just being petty and hinting that the refs are on the Suns' payroll. If that were true, then Phoenix should demand a refund, because Dallas won Game 3 and 4 in the 2022 Western Conference fair and square. But the real drama came after Game 4, when Suns guard Chris Paul took to Twitter to air his grievances with rowdy fans. He called out the league for fining players for speaking out against fans, but not doing enough to protect players' families from the fans. And it looks like he had a point, because the Mavericks had to remove a fan seated behind the Suns' bench. The fan in question, a young man in a Doncic number 77 shirt and a woman who appeared to be his accomplice, both of whom were caught on video attempting to give unwanted hugs to members of Paul's family. Of course, Paul had to be held back from confronting the fan, but he did manage to issue a warning. In the end, the Mavericks released a statement saying that the two fans had been banned from the American Airlines Center until 2023. Sure, pettiness might be frowned upon, but it's like the ultimate fuel for these players. Just take Dillon Brooks from the Grizzlies, for example. This guy has been trash-talking the Lakers and LeBron James for years, and you know what? It paid off. In Game 2 of their series, Brooks found himself matched up against the King himself, with just 6 seconds left on the clock and the Lakers down by 2 points. You could see the gears turning in LeBron's head as he remembered Brooks saying he didn't like going left. So, what does LeBron do? He drives left and banks in a game-tying layup with just 0.1 seconds left on the clock. And it's not just Brooks and LeBron getting in on the pettiness. Let's not forget about Draymond Green, who got suspended for a game after stomping on Sabonis' chest. But you know what he did when he came back? He played like Dr. Octopus, rejecting every shot from the Kings within a 10-foot radius. But the pettiness isn't just fueling individual performances, it's powering entire teams. The Miami Heat and New York Knicks, two of the NBA's biggest bully teams, they're both dominating their respective series. So, from Brooks riling up LeBron through good old-fashioned trash-talking, to Draymond Green's inability to breathe without stirring up controversy, that's all I had today for the NBA's ugly side of the playoffs.